Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing another fragrance review. Sensational. That is right, my friends. Once again, I have returned to you. This time, with another fragrance review. And the fragrance I will be reviewing today is from the house of Narciso Rodriguez. And this is simply called For Him. Now, this line has many flankers, but this is the original Eau de Toilette. It was made by Francis Kurkdjian, and it was released in 2007. As I said, this fragrance spawned, or has spawned, a lot of flankers. I don't know how many, but it's probably too many. Some of those flankers are still with us, but this fragrance has been discontinued. I always find it strange when that happens, and it has happened before. The original perfume that started the line gets discontinued. Some other ones carry on. How bizarre. Some of the flankers are still in circulation. This used to be available rather cheap at discounters. Not so much anymore. The prices have started to go up, and that is because the supply has started to go down. It is simple economics. It is economics 101, my friends. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. There is less of this. It has a, do I want to say a cult following? Maybe. I don't think it was ever massively commercially successful. I suppose if it was, it wouldn't have been discontinued. But we'll get into that. This review shall follow my tried and tested, trusty reviewing technique, where I will tell you the notes. I will tell you the notes that I get, and then I will just discuss the fragrance as and how I wish. So, on Fragrantica, it says violet leaf, patchouli, musk, and amber. But on Parfumo, it says that there is violet, lavender, pink pepper, musk, patchouli, and amber. So they've added some lavender and pink pepper on there. Now, the notes that I get from this are violet at the top, musk, a hint of patchouli, and some amber. But the two main notes for me are violet and musk. And it is a musky boy, and it's an outrageous use of musk. It's a very different fragrance. There aren't many like it. I don't think it was cloned. I don't think it was copied in the industry. It was not a massive release. I really like the bottle. I really like how different the whole thing is, even if you can't see how much is left in. I reckon I've used a decent amount of that. But I really like how this is very different. You know, it's very simple. It's not one of Kurkdjian, what has become Kurkdjian's signature. It's one of his earlier works. 17 years old, this fragrance, this year. He's done a lot of things since then, including starting his own brand. It is completely different from Baccarat Rouge. It's completely different from Oud Satin Mood. It's completely different from anything he's done for Dior. It's very austere. It's very simple. And yet the effect it generates, the effect it gives is very left field. If I hadn't told you, if you'd never smelled this before and I sprayed it on you, you would never guess that it was a Francis Kurkdjian. You would never guess it was a Francis Kurkdjian. In my opinion, it's one of his best, and it's a shame it never got the recognition that it deserves. This fragrance shows there is genius in simplicity. There are little hints of other things in there, but when you first spray this, you are met with a chalky violet kind of note. And the violet adds this the violet adds this little bit of ozone, this little bit of salt. It's got a very granulated texture. Has this fragrance? It's very like chalk dust. It's very dusty, very salty. That kind of small particles. After the violet leaf, and along with the violet leaf, when you first spray it, you get this dry concrete or wet. You get wetness on dry concrete. So you're walking along, it's not raining, and then it starts to rain, and you get that blast of not rain hitting the earth, but rain hitting concrete. You know, fresh concrete. It's very grey. I know the bottle's got blue in it as well, but it's very grey. It's like a bluey grey kind of thing. The amber in this, I'm assuming, is ambergris and not an amber accord a la Amber Sultan or Amber Nargile. It's not that kind of amber. It's a salty, not animalic, but it smells like grey clouds and grey pavement and rain. And this fragrance is absolutely perfect for the rain. I woke up this morning and it was blowing. It was blowing and there was rain. And I thought, bollocks, I'm going to wear this. And as I was wearing it, I thought, I can review this. This is a simple fragrance. So this isn't going to be a 30-minute review, a 20-minute review. Because there's not a lot going on here, but it's very, very clever how it's done. After the violet leaf and maybe some lavender and pink pepper, maybe that gives it that little hint of sweetness. There comes this dry, granular musk that gives that concrete vibe, that gives that dusty, particulate kind of vibe. And there aren't many fragrances that do that while maintaining this kind of floral, dry floral on the wind kind of edge. There may be patchouli in here, but it is not patchouli as we know it. It's not a patchouli fragrance, in my opinion. It certainly doesn't act like that on my skin. It's got more in common with an aquatic than it does like a patchouli fragrance. That kind of water in the air, ozone kind of vibe. It's fresh but deep. It's kind of kaleidoscopic, but not a colourful kaleidoscope, like a grey, blue, white kind of kaleidoscope, very abstract, a little bit weird, a little bit strange, very different, and yet it's completely coherent. And it makes a lot of sense when you wear it, but as you can probably tell, you would struggle to describe it to somebody in such a way that would make them run out and want to buy this. Maybe that's one of the reasons that it didn't sell very well. The blurb for the fragrance was: the male fragrance from Narciso Rodriguez and Beauty Prestige International. Narciso Rodriguez for him joined the first fragrance of the designer Narciso Rodriguez for her. The creator is Francis Curtijon from Takasago, who made the female version together with Christine Nagel. The perfume was inspired by the great masculine fougere fragrances from the 80s and includes musk, amber, violet leaf and patchouli. Do I get great fougere fragrances from the 80s? Not hugely. If I hadn't read that, would I have made that association? Honestly, no. Do I get lavender? Not so much. Everything else that's going on is there to support and push this musky, white, fluffy, cloud-like experience. And it's a very strange fragrance, but it's very, very good. And it is very, very discontinued. There was some and ahhing about it for a while, whether it had been discontinued, but it's not available. I don't even know that it's available on discounters now. I don't know that it's available on eBay. And I dread to think what the prices are, but the flankers strangely are still. They're available, they're out there, and they're not expensive either. Smelled a couple of them, like Blue Noir or Bleu Noir. Not for me. This fragrance kind of does it all. Smells like the colour it looks, maybe with a little bit of added purple from the violet leaf, you know. A concrete fragrance. Very well made. And I recommend that you try and find a decant, or try to get a bottle if you can. It's fantastic and very strange. It will open your palate. It will be an addition. But anyway, that is my review, friends. Thank you very much.